Welcome to Fierce Fit Feminine and Other F Words, a place where women come to learn how to improve their health, beauty, body language, and communication. I'm Christine Brunelli, and I'm your host. And today we are going to give you a shot in the arm for your 2022 goals. Why? Because this episode is being released in early June. That is just about mid-year. It is time for us to look back at what we said we were going to do this year, reassess, evaluate, and look forward. And I have a little nudge extra just to give you a kick in the butt you might need. Are you ready? Let's get started. When we rolled into January 1, 2022, we still were in a pandemic. As far as the United States goes, anyway, in Washington State, we were still wearing masks. We were still wearing masks in restaurants and all of the things. And nobody knew what the year was going to look like. We have been smacked in the head from all sides of, can you dine in? Can you dine out? Are you allowed to go to the gym or not allowed to go to the gym? So goal setting was a little hairy, right? I would say a lot of people were like, I'm kind of not sure. I am not that girl. I'm the girl that I'm going to set those goals, and if I have to make an adjustment or a pivot, I'm going to pivot with whatever's going on around me. But I set some goals, and I am part of, and I don't know if you are, I'm part of a really super amazing group of women. We meet once a week. I think some of them may even listen to this podcast. And if you're out there, girls, I love you. I appreciate you. They are all women with ambition, with goals in different fields than me, but we all are setting out to achieve a certain thing by a certain date. And we meet to share, things that are happening, what's holding us back, where are we stuck, what are our wins, and we keep ourselves accountable. Well, in this group back in I don't know if it was January or early February, one of the gals in this group said, we need to look back and reevaluate how far we've come. And it hit me that I really didn't do that. I'd already set my intentions for 2022, but the 2020 and 2021 were so wacky that I didn't really stop and think what I had accomplished. So before I talk about your 2022 goals, I want to encourage you to stop and look back at the previous 12 months and just with a pen and paper, sit down and write out everything you've done. Things that you did that were brand new, things that you did that were goals that you reached, things that you learned that you didn't know before. Maybe it's new friendships you made. Maybe it was you got yourself in a gym again. I don't know what any of these are. Maybe it's a career goal, a business goal, whatever it is. Write every single thing down, because I'm going to tell you, when I did that, I saved it in my phone. I did it on the notes app in my phone, and I blew myself away. In 2021, I went live on Instagram for the very first time. I'd never done that. You'd think someone that does a podcast would do that, right? Know how? Nope, I didn't know how. Never did it before. And the first time I went live, nobody was there. And I said to somebody, do you just wait for people? This is how naive I was. Do you just wait for people to come on? How does this work? And they're like, no, if no one's there, you just talk and then push it out to your, as a saved video, and maybe somebody will see it. And I thought, why do you do that? And I really knew nothing. And, I started this podcast in 2021. Early 2021, this podcast was a result of a goal. And so I want to encourage you, before we reevaluate where you are this year, look back at the last 12 months and see what you've accomplished. See if you've reached a goal that you set out, and no matter how small, because you will amaze yourself at what you've done so far. But when we look forward, we need to stop and look down right now on the calendar, today's date. When you are listening to this episode, what is today's date? And what have you done up until today for the year that was moving your life forward? What steps did you take? And I don't care how small they are. If it was, I'm going to get up 15 minutes earlier so I can have a little bit of quiet time in the morning, that's a big deal because my girl loves sleep. If it is, I'm going to walk 10 minutes a day. If it's, I'm going to spend more time on my hair and makeup just so I feel a little prettier, whatever. It could be enormous. It could be, I'm going to launch my podcast and I did it. It could be something like that. But what steps did you take from January 1, 2022 until this moment, until this day, that have moved the needle in your life, that moved it forward? I want you to do that. And I want you to consider what were some of your intentions? Because my girl, your life is your masterpiece. Think of a Picasso, think of a Michelangelo, think of beautiful art. That is what you are doing with your life. It is art. Are you just throwing paint up there and seeing what sticks? Or are you creating and making beautiful swirls and like little messes and then covering it with beauty again? That is just my artsy way of saying you get to design a life you enjoy living. That doesn't mean that you won't get stuck. That doesn't mean it won't get difficult. That doesn't mean you won't get frustrated trying to reach your goals. But if you give up because you're frustrated, you're never going to get there. That's not a sign of success. You have to keep going when you're frustrated. You have to show up for yourself every single day when you don't feel like it. So what did you decide you were going to do this year? What did you do? Now, I'm not a New Year's resolutions person. I do look at a calendar year. In January, I don't do it the way most people do it. I do it on my birthday, actually, is in October. But I do look at a calendar in terms of business. So, because on tax returns, right, we look in an annual year. So I did have goals that I set for 2022, and I'm behind. I'm ahead in some areas and I'm behind in others. I thought that 3 months ago, about 3 months ago, that I would have been way much further along than I am now in some areas. But then in other areas, I've just catapulted myself. So it is time for me to sit down with my planner and my journal and figure out, okay, that was a lofty goal. Kind of didn't get there yet. That doesn't mean I'm not going to do it this year, but let's adjust. And that's the same thing I want you to do. I want you to look and say, okay, I set this intention or this goal in January. Let's use weight for an example, because that's what most people do in January. Let's use that. Well, did you get there? Did you nudge it? Did you only do that in January and February and give up? Why? You still have 7 months. If you're listening to this episode when it's released in June of 2022, you've got 7 months to be smashing by New Year's Eve in a dress that's a little smaller, to have a goal, business goal done by 12/31 that you will be proud to have reported on your tax returns. You have so much time to look at what you decided to do in January and see where you are in moving the needle toward it. Or maybe life has taken you sideways, derailed you. Maybe something happened where you set a goal or an intention in January and you went, okay, that's not happening. I'm now taking care of my elderly family member, or this happened or that happened, and that's not reality anymore. We need to reevaluate that. The reason is, if you don't sit down with it and take this time to create and write and set the intention, you won't get there. It doesn't happen by happenstance. You don't just bump into it. That's so rare. If that was common, you would hear lots of people say, it just kind of fell in my lap. That doesn't happen. It really is rare. You have to sit down with, where do you want to be? Are you satisfied and content with every single aspect of your life right now? How are those intentions from January looking? Are you satisfied with your career? Are you satisfied with your appearance, your image, your body, your health? Are you satisfied with your relationships? Where is your career satisfaction on a scale of 1 to 10? How do we get that to a 10? Where is your satisfaction in your relationship on a scale of 1 to 10? How do we get that to a 10? You have to write it down. What is it that you have to do to show up for each of the areas where you have goals, hopes, and dreams to make those come to life? What do you have to do different? Every single day, we have to show up, whether we feel like it or not. Now, this is not saying self-care isn't important, but there is a but. I had a coach when I was a competitive figure skater that said, every day you don't want to lace up your skates and practice, the person that's going to beat you in the state championships practiced when they didn't feel like it. I never forgot that. And I was probably, 9 or 10 years old when he taught me that. Your competitor is practicing more than you. Don't ever forget it. The person that wants gold or first place more than you is practicing more than you. The person that wants the relationship, the career, the health, the fitness, that person, they're hungry. They're showing up. She is showing up for herself every single day. It's your masterpiece. You are creating it. That doesn't mean that you can't hit pause if there is some reason that you have to hit pause. But you have 7 months to finish 2022 strong. How are you going to show up for yourself? What does it look like? Have you accomplished your goals? What do you need to tweak, dial in? Sit down, write it out. Now, I want to take you on a little story because this is fresh in my mind. I just listened to a podcast. Oh my gosh, it blew me away. It's 90 minutes long, and I'm going to share it with you because I think everybody should listen. I'm not an affiliate. I don't get any perks for this, but Ed Mylett has one of the biggest podcasts of all podcast shows, and he just had one of my inspirations and my favorite people, Jamie Kern-Lima. She created IT Cosmetics, and she sold it to L'Oreal for like $1.2 billion. She created that product in her garage with all of her savings, and she was crying on the floor because she couldn't get it to sell. And all these years later, she sells it. She's the first female that ever sold a company like that to L'Oreal. Anyway, she's amazing. She's friends with Ed Mylett. He said, hey, I would like you to interview me on my own show. And she did. And so they are very inspirational people. If you have listened to the episode, you already know how powerful it is. But I want to share a couple excerpts that I took notes. I was out for a run and I had to stop while I was listening to this podcast and write notes in my phone because it was that good. And some of the things that he said, I never gave thought to. One of them is, are you leaving a legacy of chasing your hopes and dreams for your children? Are they seeing you settle for mediocrity? Are they seeing you stuck in a fixed mindset? Are they hearing you say, well, that's a great dream, but I'll never have it because of XYZ. I'll never have that because that's just not something our family can do. Yeah, that's for the wealthy people. That's not anything our family can do. You need money to make money, forget it. Great dream, but you see, those things are going to keep you stuck. That is a fixed mindset. If you don't allow yourself to dream as big as you can possibly dream, the people that are the most successful that you hear about in the world that make life happen, they are people that they build statues for. They have dreams. And they lived and chased those dreams like a child with childlike enthusiasm. Didn't mean they didn't get frustrated. Didn't mean they didn't hear no 500 times before they got the yes. But they dreamt like a child and they went after it. And so I want to encourage you, if you came from a background that maybe had you stuck, like, we just aren't that. We're lower class, lower middle class. We'll never be there. Or our family just is big boned and heavy. Well, you can't be that shape. You'll never be that because it's just not in our family. It's not in our genes. Baloney. You don't have to be unhealthy because your family was unhealthy. Allow yourself to take everyone's words that they spoke into you when you were a child. It's time for you to deal with it and let them go. What were they? And this is something that Ed shared in his podcast. And I want to share it with you because if I can impart something to help you move the needle in your life, that's what this podcast, mine, is all about, helping women improve and move the needle and go forward. Because if you've been with me for any length of time, you've heard me say it, progress leads to happiness. When we have little increments of progress, we feel that we get this hit of endorphins and we get happy, right? If you make any progress, if you walked every day for a week and you didn't the previous week, you feel good about yourself. Even if you get up one day to go to the gym early, you feel good about yourself. That was progress. So I want you to think, what was one thing that you were told growing up that you allowed to become a belief that's limiting you? I'll bet all of us, almost all of us, have it. I know I have it. I had to deal with it. I'm pretty sure you have something that you heard, whether it was career-related, job-related, relationship-related. It could be something like, yeah, there's just a string of bad luck in this family. Everybody gets divorced twice. Or it could be the body that I referenced, your shape. We're big people. And in your mind, that's what you believe. Or that whole, it takes money to make money. You'll never get there. You're just going to have to work hard. Well, people work hard and never become millionaires, right? There's people that have 2 and 3 jobs to put food on their table. They are hustling. They are working hard. You can never tell me that mom who is a single mom with 2 kids isn't working hard. Hard work isn't what does it. It's being resourceful and creative and learning and stretching yourself and pushing yourself and surrounding yourself with people that are going to encourage you, and podcasts like this or the Ed Mylett podcast that's going to nudge you forward. So that is what I want you to think about, because if you're a mom, oh my goodness, your kids are watching. They're watching every single move you make. They're listening and they're watching. So even if you're not talking to them and you're on a phone call, they're listening to the words you say. If they hear you say, yeah, I can't eat that because if I eat that, it's going to go right to my hip. So can we go do this because I'm really trying to watch. Well, your daughter heard you say that and she's going to adopt that philosophy. Trust me, I already know that happens. If she hears you talk about how money is tight and how you're working so hard and you're never going to get there, and this whole hard work thing, it's so hard to get ahead and we'll never get ahead, she is going to learn that she has to work, and she's never going to get ahead because she's hearing that fixed mindset. What do you want to model for your kids? What legacy do you want to leave? So I want you to listen. If you're not a mother, who are you around that you could influence and change? Maybe it's someone in your family. Maybe your family has had this long legacy of being stuck, and you are the one that's supposed to change it. You're the one that just has to believe and dream so big that you nudge yourself to the top of the hill and then you soar and fly. What are your goals for the rest of this year? What do you want to accomplish by 12/31, by December 31st? What goal did you set or intention did you set that you need to let go or pivot, shift, rearrange? And what do you need to do to show up every single day to reach that goal? I'm going to encourage you to do something. I've never done this before. I want you to email me. I want you to email me your list of goals. It's private. No one else will see it. It's a form of accountability. I want you to send me one goal. That's it. Just one. If you want to go further, give me the whole lowdown. But I want you to sit down and send me an email and say, this is what I want to accomplish by December 31st. And then I want you to tell me 3 things that you have to do to get yourself there. And you can think of it in terms of if it's a job, like where are you on a scale of 1 to 10 in your career happiness? How do we get that to a 10? I want you to use that question, how do I get that to a 10, to figure out the 3 steps that you're going to take to move yourself forward. Now, it'll take more than 3 steps, but let's use that. What do we need to do to get this to a 10, to get this goal to come to life, to get you moving forward? What do you have to do to show up to do that? So send me 1 goal and 3 things you have to do. It's just a form of accountability because you want to tell someone. If you don't, it's very possible when you don't speak it out loud or share it with someone, you won't do it. That's why people go and announce on Facebook or other social media, I'm in the gym again and I'm going to lose 20 pounds. They do it to hold themselves accountable, not to be showy and flashy. And they're not showing people what they eat because we care about what they eat. If you've ever been in the gym world, you know they're doing that to hold themselves accountable. They want accountability. If they share it, they'll stick to it. If you share with me your goal, 1 goal, and 3 things you're going to do to move yourself forward, you'll have better shot at reaching it because you told someone. My email address, I'll put it in the show notes, but it's info@ChristineBrunelli.com, ChristineB as in boy, RAN as in Nancy, ELI.com. You can also send it to me in a DM on Facebook or Instagram. I would love to hear it. I'm going to be waiting for it. So reassess those goals and write the new ones and email me what your next goal is going to be and the 3 steps you're going to take to move forward. That's what I have for you today. Let's finish this year strong. Are you getting ready for summer? I'm so excited for summer, and I have created a free guide for you to choose the best sunglasses for your face shape. If you don't know, little known fact, I'm a certified image consultant who helps women identify their body shape and their face shape so that they can dress better for it to enhance their features. This guide is completely free. The link to the PDF is in the show notes. You can scroll right below here, tap that link or copy and paste it, and the free guide will come right to you. Thank you for being here. If you're not subscribed, don't forget to tap the subscribe button so that you get notified every time a new episode is released. And until then, have a fierce, fit, feminine, and fabulous day.